Hello, I want to demonstrate a method that I've come up with for helping people to get a more effective embouchure. This is good for somebody who might just need a tweak to be able to focus their lips a little bit more to get high notes efficiently. And it also has been effective for students who actually need to totally reset. So I call this descend ascend. As always, when we're dealing with something that feels like it's all about the lips, the first thing to pay attention to is the air. So I'm going to start a metronome. This is 72, and I'm going to take a 2-beat 4-part breath, and I'm just going to practice moving the air in for 2 beats and out for 4, whispering ta. And on the ta exhale, my embouchure is not going to do a thing. It's just going to be loose. So here we go. Ready? And ready, and so I'm always using rhythm because rhythm is coordination, is timing, and we respond so well to timing. Then the next step is going to be to move the air and put the lips together so that I can get some kind of a buzz. I'm going to call this free buzz because there's no mouthpiece involved, and it doesn't matter what note I get. So same rhythm of air, and I'm just going to buzz my lips. Ready, and as you can see, that is not an effective trumpet embouchure, but it doesn't matter. I'm just moving the air on time and creating a vibration by having my lips be together right before I start the exhale. Ready, and so now I would have a student look in the mirror, and very often it actually means that I'm going to put up my smartphone and I'm going to do selfie mode so they can watch themselves. And I call this 4P. So we're going to use the same rhythm, but this time they're going to form the ideal embouchure. I like to call this the embouchure that they make that is going to go on page 3 of the beginner's trumpet book because it looks so classic. So a classic trumpet embouchure, you have the corners very engaged, you have flat chin with dimples. A lot of people talk about there's a triangle, 1, 2, 3, right? As I exhale now, I'm going to hear the letter P, right? But I'm also, on the exhale, I'm going to hear the hiss of air that is focused. So if I go, right, that's not a good trumpet embouchure because my lips aren't really focused. Instead, what I want is this. Ready, and 1, 2. Now, what I can do while I'm looking in the mirror is I get a visual of this really classic looking trumpet embouchure. I can also notice where is the contact point where my top lip is touching my bottom lip. And I talk about a low contact point as being, right? So spot way down here on the top lip is where it touched. A high contact point would be up further on the lip. Right, that's a higher contact point. So I can do my letter P exercise a few times and notice where it touches on the lip, and then I can touch a higher spot on the lip and do it again. So here I am doing it twice with a low contact point, and then experimenting, I'm looking in the mirror, and then I'm going to do it again with a high contact point. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Okay, so that might have been my contact point. What if I did this? Rest, rest. Rest, rest. So you notice that my lips touch right before beat 1 of the exhale. okay? They're going to touch, and then on the exhale, they go puh, right? Now, the next step, step 4, is what I call TP, right? As I begin the exhale, I'm going to release the air with a tuh, and my lips are touching. So there's a tuh and a puh. The puh starts a little before, and then the tuh is, okay? So here we go with a tuh and a puh, and the air is still always coordinated. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. So there's 4 steps without even making a sound on the trumpet. Now, step 5, I'm going to combine air and motion on time. The lips touching, the tuh releases the air, the corners are engaged, and my top lip, I've been able to see in the mirror that it's firm enough that it won't go, right? I call that pooching out, or blowing in the breeze. Instead we want, I'll tell students I could move air 90 miles an hour past my top lip and it wouldn't flap because I'm keeping it firm, mostly by using this. So I'm still on step 4. Rest, rest. Okay, step 5 is I get to play my G. Rest. Oh, now I turn off the camera. Now I'm going to use my embouchure, right? And I'm going to use the visual of that classic page 3 in the instruction book. I can picture it, and my embouchure has a chance to slowly migrate towards that, but I'm not going to go in the mirror and insist on using a new embouchure. Rest, rest. So, this is something where we can't really describe all the things that go into making that sound consistent and start right on the beat. You can't really coordinate all the muscles that are necessary, and you certainly can't control them all by thinking about them. What you can do is ask for da, and you can move the air on time. If you do those 2 things, then it's trial and error that does the rest, including everything that has to do with the embouchure. But we just gave ourselves a little bit of a hint, right? So here I go. I call this 4P, so I'm going to do 4 of these in a row. If that G speaks perfectly every time, great. If not, so what? Just keep the air going and ask for the da. Those are the 2 important elements. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. So I'm listening for a full sound that is clear and song-like. Okay, so now I'm ready to descend from there. The idea is that I would like to start with an embouchure that's comfortable playing the top note in a passage. That G is not super high, but if I were just reforming my embouchure, I could start with that note and then come down. So I might do this. Now I'm going to slow it down until I got some 8th notes. So I'm going down to 60. Rest, rest. Oh, I know. Before I even play on the trumpet, I'm going to buzz. Rest, rest. So you could hear that my volume is pretty much the same and my sound quality is pretty much the same from beginning to end. And I'm doing that by moving the air at the same speed. I'll do it again. Rest, rest. I'm allowing myself to slide some rather than having to slot every single note. I just want to feel that air being super consistent. Okay, now I get to slur it on the trumpet. Rest, rest. And now every note is going to get a da, but I want my air to travel straight from the beginning of the first note to the end of the last note, just as if I were buzzing on the mouthpiece. Okay, now I get to descend and ascend. And if this were brand new embouchure, I might be good at playing that G when I set for it, but it might be challenging for me to descend and then come back up and have the last note I play sound just as good. So that's my goal. Rest, rest. Right, because I have to relax just slightly to get down to the trumpet C, and then I have to be able to get back up to the starting note. Rest, rest. And now I get the tongue. Rest, rest. Okay, so I just accomplished my descend ascend using quite a low starting note. Now the next step is going to be to do all 7 steps using a higher starting note. I'm going to do it starting on the 3rd space C, and then I'm going to do it starting on the G above the staff. After I have done the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I might end up doing an entire scale down and up, and I might even go further than that. So here I am with the C. Rest, rest. I want this to be very quiet. If I go, I'm making the sound with my throat, so instead I want rest, rest. Free buzz. Rest, rest. There's no ta on the free buzz, it's just a p. Now comes, I'm looking in the mirror and I'm picturing my p. There's no t, only p. Rest, rest. Roll in more. Rest, rest. Now I'm going to add a t. Rest, rest. Right? My job is to hear that in my head and move the air. Rest, rest. Rest, rest. So if that C were challenging for me, like if I were a first-year player, I would not push it as a teacher. But when the student is ready to get that note, I will incorporate some things where they start on the top note that we're going for. So now I'm going to go slurring on the trumpet. Rest, rest. Now we're going to ascend. So I might do a quarter note on the C as I go down and then back up. That might sound like this. Rest, rest. if a student is not accustomed to doing a lot of mouthpiece buzzing, they might not sound great on the mouthpiece. And I often tell a student, that's great. That's a really good reason to keep buzzing, because even a modest result on the mouthpiece is going to really yield results on the trumpet. So, is my embouchure a little different on the third space C than it is down at the bottom of the staff? Yeah, probably just a little. And so the idea is that I want to be flexible enough that I can go down and come back up, and I'm listening for the sound quality. My body knows how to get back to that C because it just started there. And I want to match the sound quality. So here comes the tongue version. Rest, rest. I'm going to continue now. I'm going to do all 7 steps with the G above the staff. At its up. So at this point, it's pretty likely that a student might not get the sound that they're looking for on this top note. So I use the syllable JKB, the initial JKB. It means just keep blowing. If the note comes out nice and clear right on the beat, great. If not, so what? Just keep the air going. Trial and error and asking for the pitch will make you get more and more consistent so that eventually you get really good at starting right on that note. Let's imagine that I've gone down a fifth and back up a fifth. Now I'm going to do a scale that goes down a ninth. That was not as consistent as I would imagine it to be. Let's see if I can be more consistent on the trumpet. Rest, rest. So I'm going to do a tongue version that goes down all the way 2 octaves and back up. And so I will definitely be doing some kind of a shift as I go down and then come back up. But my body knows what it feels like to make that G sound really good because I started there.